I like that. I like that. That's quite some vibes, man. Wonderful. Hi, Glory. Well done. Great one. Wonderful way to get us into that Thursday groove. Now we have something quite interesting coming up. Our book chat. Kehinde Fadikbe, a Royal Academy of Dramatic Arts trained actress and teacher with stage and screen credits. She began her writing career in the Royal Court Young Writers Program. Her debut novel, In Such Tremendous Heat, The Sun Set in Singapore, is a contemporary fiction about 3 Nigerian women living in Singapore. It is great to have you. You are welcome.
Thank you.
Have you lived in Singapore?
I live there now, yes.
You live there now?
Yeah.
How long have you been there?
11 years.
Okay, so you see, this is enough reason to really take this even much more serious.
Right.
Not like I didn't take it serious, but this is so great. In Such Tremendous Hit, what inspired this festival?
Well, I mean, I've been writing all of my life.
Okay.
I was writing screenplays, short films, plays. I tried writing for theater. So I knew I always wanted to write a book. And then when I moved to Singapore, I actually wrote another book first that was a little bit heavier. And I wanted to write something lighter. I was still trying to finding my voice. And then I just decided I would try to write something that was capturing the different types of women that I was meeting there. So it's not really my story. Okay. It's more just meeting people that I probably wouldn't have met in a different country, all kind of coming together.
And it's curated from your experiences there, from what you've seen.
From what I've seen,
and
yeah.
And then all of that. Exactly, wonderful. You're talking about 3 women here. There's Dara. Who are the other 2 women?
Dara is a lawyer. There's Amaka, who's a banker. And then there's Lillian, who is a pianist.
All right.
Yes. Yeah.
Just tell us about these 3 women. Just an overview about their lives.
Well, Dara is definitely a workaholic. You know, she was someone that's very good at school and like believes in following the rules, working hard. And then the firm that she works for hires another lawyer, another Nigerian lawyer, a guy who actually becomes a rival. And so her part of the story is about that competitive, aspect with him, and that forces her to kind of reassess, like the way that she does life, like her values, because she starts doing more and more things to try to get ahead, to kind of get ahead of him. They're both going up for partnership at this law firm. Okay. So it's kind of about the way that firms sometimes pit black people together in organizations against each other. Sorry, yeah, exactly. And then Amaka is a banker. She's a workaholic. I'm sorry, she's a shopaholic.
Shopaholic.
Yes, definitely not a workaholic. And then she's going through some family issues back in Nigeria. So we kind of see her family dynamics. You know, all the way in Singapore, she's on family Zooms. There are issues with like her father's family, her late father's family, and then we have Lillian, who a pianist who becomes a teacher in Singapore, who's trying to have a child, struggling to have a child. So it does deal with the IVF journey a little bit. And all 3 women meet this guy, and through different ways, he sort of starts to create a little bit of chaos in each of their lives.
Yeah, wonderful. Right. It's not in chapters. I like the way the book comes up. It's by name of these 3 women. So it goes on. There's Dara. It starts with Dara, and then there's Amaka. There's Lillian. There's Dara. There's Amaka. What style is that? How did you, or how are you telling the story in this quite unique way? I must say.
Yeah, thank you. I think it's 3 perspectives alternating between their perspectives. And yes, you're right. There aren't actually any chapter numbers per se, and it takes place over the course of a year. So from when this guy moved to Singapore to a year later. And I've always been interested in multiple perspectives. You know, I've always been interested in films that have multiple perspectives, or sometimes like different perspectives of the same event.
Because we don't all see things the same way, and we cannot retort or retell those things in the same way.
Right, exactly. And you see the characters talking about events that some of them were there, some of them were not there, and they all kind of draw something differently from it. So one is more empathetic towards someone, another person is more judgmental. One is counseling, another one don't get involved, the other one is like, but more putting themselves in that character's shoes. So I've always been interested in that style. It does make for a challenging process because you have to follow the events of what's happened to whom, when you have to create timelines as well. But it was enjoyable. It was a challenge, but I enjoyed it.
How long did it take you to put this together?
Okay, so on and off 7 years.
Whoa, because it wouldn't be easy because it's multifaceted, like you said. You're not thinking from the mind of one person. You're thinking, about the same scenario and all of that. What do you hope to achieve with this book? Because now you mentioned how expatriate workers, black expatriate workers, are kind of pitted against themselves. What do you hope to achieve with this?
Yeah, I mean, when I was writing the book, I had a vision in my mind. When I decided I wanted to publish, I had a vision in my mind of a black woman curled in a sofa, just enjoying the story, just escaping. And I feel like I have achieved that, but long term, we are adapting it for the screen. So it's going to be a TV show, though we're at the beginning of that process. Yeah, so
Wonderful.
I'm definitely
like
really excited about bringing the characters to life on screen, because I don't think we've seen a show with, definitely not with African characters in Asia. So I think that's going to be really interesting, because there are a lot of us in different countries in Asia, and we hear a lot and we read about the diaspora, but maybe not specifically in Asia. So I think that's going to be quite a unique thing.
It is.
So long term, that's what I'm hoping to achieve.
It is. And have you started that process of putting this together?
We've started, yes. I've got an amazing co-writer, but we can't.
Exactly, co-writer. You've already put something together. That means you're going to adapt for a screenplay.
Right.
How challenging is that process? What does it mean taking a book that you wrote? Are you going to write the screenplay
Yes,
also?
I am. Yes,
and
I am.
adapting a novel into the screenplay.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing is you're lucky that the story is already there.
It's already
the material is
there.
already there. And for TV, the challenge is developing a story with a strong enough engine. We already have that there. I think what's going to be challenging is not letting the book limit you. So it doesn't have to follow the beginning, middle, and end of the. In fact, you can go in as many different directions as you want.
It's possible.
You can also explore some of the smaller characters. They can kind of come to life, because there's some secondary characters that I love in the book that some people have said, oh, I wish we'd had seen more
of this person.
So that will be exciting, yeah.
Like what a lot of people do now with spin-offs when we see TV shows and all that.
Exactly, there's that potential as well.
And all of that. You see, looking at all of this is quite a read, and I would say that you deciding to put it into screenplay, because there's that talk about Africans not wanting to read. Someone said if you want to keep something away from people, you have to hide
put it in a book.
And all of that.
Right.
Well, what is your own perception since you've written this? How is the reaction to this? You think we read more now? I mean, we're in an age where attention spans are very short, and it's almost like it's only the bookworms that really care about books these days. Everybody wants to scroll and consume some content on social media and all of that. Are people more? Do people read more now? Do they read less?
I think people do read a lot more than we think, especially since COVID, because I think that COVID year, when everything slowed down, all you could do was sit at home and you could consume content, but also book sales did really well. People were buying books. I definitely think in Nigeria, like, Nigerians want to read books about Nigerians, set in Nigeria, that reflect what we're going through. One thing as a writer is you experience life twice. You experience it when you first live it, and then you experience it when you write it again.
Right.
And I think when you read as well, it's also a way to process things, to see yourself reflected in the book. You don't have to agree with everything or like everything in the book, but to see yourself visible. I think one thing that's really interesting is a lot of my friends, their daughters have loved the book. Even though they're young, they just love the cover. So even seeing ourselves is very important.
It is.
I think people do read a lot more. You can also listen to audiobooks. You can get this book as an audiobook. You can get it as an ebook, so you can still swipe.
Wonderful.
But the physical hard copy, you can get it at Roving Heights Bookshop.
Right.
So I do think people read, and it's a great gift as well to give to people if you know that they love reading.
Very much. This is wonderful. I like the way it looks in such tremendous heat.
Thank you.
And I wish you the best when you adapt for the screen.
Thank you very much.
Keep on doing what you're doing. Well done.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right. Okay, that was Kehinde Fatikbe in such tremendous heat. It's quite the read. All right, so we'll take a time and I'll stay with us. We'll be back in a